I don't know if it's just me, but I'm quite tired of the sort of alternative meat free foods that are really aggressively promoted in modern society. Now, I don't know if you've heard of something called Quorn. Now, Quorn is a meat free alternative food that is quite aggressively promoted. And the fact is, I tried this Quorn thing one day, and bro, I felt so bad afterwards. I tried this Quorn thing, which is supposed to be like a meat replacement thing for things like mince, things like meat, steak pies, and stuff like that. I tried it, and bro, I felt awful afterwards. I had this football training thing, and after I tried the sort of corn pies, when I was trying to like run around to play football, my gut felt so inflamed, and it felt like I had like a weight attached to my gut and attached to my stomach. It was one of the weirdest experiences I'd ever had in my life that I never experienced with other sort of meat-free sort of alternative products like corn, like in the very very far past. And it just kind of got me thinking about the aggressive promotion of this foods and of the like sort of veganism culture that's quite widespread in modern society. And this is of no hate to people who do choose to kind of be vegans and vegetarians, but I do think the sort of meat-free foods that like are designed to sort of be meat are quite hypocritical. And as much as I love the fact that this culture promotes things like fruit and veg, which are incredibly healthy for you and are great for your diet, the alternative foods that serve as a replacement to meat, like things like corn, things like vegan cheese, vegan milk and yogurt and stuff like that, all that sort of stuff, the alternative foods that are highly processed, all this sort of corn stuff is so processed, along with other things like vegan cheese. Because let's be honest, vegan cheese, right? It's not cheese. If you bought something of vegan cheese, you wouldn't even know exactly what you're eating. It's that processed, and it's just like a concoction of like vegetables that have been just like pressed in so many different kind of vats and machines, and maybe not even vegetables. It could even just be like normal chemicals that are used to sort of stick the stuff together. And I'm going to use the basic example of margarine and butter to show you why maybe these alternative processed foods aren't as good for you as you may think. Now, margarine is something that's kind of taken the world by storm. These sort of vegetable oil and seed oil butters are things that are really widespread and are being told to think of things that are like so healthy for you because they're lower in fat. And the fact is, you may know that fats aren't actually all that bad for you. Now, the fact that the margarines are low in fat actually makes it worse than things like butters that are high in things like saturated fats and stuff, because margarines are made from like cold pressed vegetable oils that are then put into like containers and stuff. And when these vegetable oils or these seed oils and stuff are compressed, it goes through a process called hydrogenation. And so the fats, the like chemical chains of the fats inside the seed oils, inside the vegetable oils, get hydrogenated and turned into these things called trans fats. And trans fats are something that when they are in the body are quite difficult to digest, and when they actually like are put into what fats are used for, like cell membranes and stuff, it means that other chemicals are allowed to pass very easily through the cell membranes, and that means your cells can kind of get attacked by other things like chemicals and stuff like that, and that's just not a good thing that you probably don't want. And that is caused by trans fats, and trans fats are very widespread in cold pressed vegetable oils. And the fact is, because even though they have things like lower fat content than stuff like actual butter that's from cows and from milk, it's still unhealthy for you because trans fats are probably around 10 times unhealthier for you than saturated fats. And so if you currently do eat like margarine and vegetable oil spread, I really recommend just switching to butter because it's just a more natural thing that is going to be so much more beneficial to your health and doesn't create trans fats inside of your body. And that is one simple example, but the corn thing that I talked about earlier is actually made from mold. The corn extract is actually something called mycoprotein, and mycoprotein is made from mold. And while mold and fungus and stuff like that can have its benefits, I mean, mold and fungus in the past has been transformed to make into things like antibiotics and stuff like that. But mold to like eat as a recreational kind of food seems like quite a weird sort of process, and it is a very processed food. I mean, these funguses, these molds, are then grown in like big massive vats, and then they have to extract the microprotein and like put them through different sort of machine things so that they can like actually like make it into the little chunks of corn that are put into like your pies, or the mince that's put into your spaghetti bolognese or whatever. And it seems quite weird now you think about it. All these sort of alternative vegan, vegetarian foods are quite processed, and more processed than you may have ever possibly like imagined before. And while there is no hate towards these sort of vegans and vegetarians and stuff, because fruit and veggies, as we know, are like really good and really healthy for your body, it seems like if you want to still eat the things that are meat, if you want to eat meat, but you're choosing to eat alternative meat things because you're vegan or vegetarian, it's depending on your motive. If your motive is to be vegan and vegetarian, to be more healthy, to eat more fruit and veg, I really don't recommend choosing to buy the alternative sort of alternative like vegan, vegetarian foods and stuff like that, because they are always highly processed and do not contain many minerals and vitamins and like good healthy things that are really good for your body and help you in your just normal kind of health journey. If your sort of motive is to like help the planet and stuff like that, then that's fair enough. But because of all the processes that kind of have to be gone through to make these alternative meat patties and corn and stuff like that, it's probably better off just avoiding all these sort of processed foods whatsoever, because meat does have a place in our diet ultimately, and meat does contain certain proteins and certain vitamins that are hard to come by in vegetables and like alternative sort of meat products and stuff like that. So I hope you found value out of this video. I hope you now understand that maybe processed alternative foods aren't such a good thing for you after all, and I recommend subscribing because I like this community of young tribal people who are willing to improve themselves so much more than they already have, and good luck.